Hi, this is Rubber Cheese. Today I'm going to do a walk around, demo, and review of a Powerplay SPY2030. This is an electric pressure washer rated at just over 2000 Psi and 1.4 gallons per minute, which is about 5.3 liters per minute. Included is a 15-foot pressure hose, that's this one here, and a 35-foot power cord. The unit ships with 4 nozzles, so you get a 0 degree, a 15 degree, and a 25 degree pressure nozzle. And then this black one here is a low pressure soap nozzle. Now, depending where you buy it from, you may also get the turbo nozzle. This retails for about $40 Canadian if you buy it on your own. I'll also be demoing what that does. So I picked this unit because of its form factor. It's only 16.5 inches high. I don't have a lot of place to store it, so I thought that would be nice. I also like that it's advertised not to tip over. So the idea is, as you're pulling it along, because it's connected at the bottom, it'll just drag behind you. So that's nice. It's only 16.5 inches tall. The issue is that the footprint of it, because of the casters, depending on the location of those casters, is between 13.5 and 16 inches square. So what that means for me is that I can't easily push it against the wall and have it take up no space. And because of the handle design, it's not even easy for me to hang it on something. I mean, you can hang it on something, it's just not as convenient as other units. The other problem with the short form factor is that there's nothing to really wrap the hose around, the power hose around. So that's what this is intended for, but there's nothing at the bottom for you to loop it around, so it's not very convenient. Each caster has a lock on it to prevent it from rolling down your driveway, although in my use I found it doesn't really matter. You really don't need to use that. At the front, you've just got an on-off button. Looking at the side, this is just for your power hose, but it's not very flexible, it's not easy to use. At the back, we've got our power cord, and this is where you can add soap. So there's a soap dispenser in here. Unlike some other units, there's not really any way to drain the soap out of here without actually using it up or reversing it and just sort of popping it out. Not really a big deal, but when you're using soap, the only time it'll come out is if you use the low pressure nozzle, which is this one here, and it does a pretty good job evenly spitting soap out onto your car or whatever your project is. I'm using the Gardena Quick Connect system. I think usually you probably shouldn't use that with a pressure washer, but I didn't notice any performance reduction when I started using it, and it just makes it a lot easier for me to connect to it. I think because it's only 1.4 gallons a minute of flow, it's probably okay, but probably it's better to not use that. So Powerplay gives you a 1-year warranty with it. I've never dealt with this company or heard of them before. I don't know how they deal with warranty claims. So that's sort of a risk I took. But like I said, I bought it really for the small form factor. And the performance seems pretty good. The only other thing I'm going to point out for now is that just like any other pressure washer, there's a quick connect to add your nozzles. So you just pull that back, clip it on, there you go. And to pop it off, flip that down, and you can take it off and change the nozzle really easily, really quickly. If you're doing it on the fly, there's also a lock here, so you can clip that in so that you can't accidentally pull the trigger. When I got the unit, it was mostly assembled. All I had to do is add on the casters, assemble the nozzle wand, and attach the hoses. No tools are needed, and it takes maybe 5 minutes to fully assemble. Also, I believe one of these hooks is separate, just had to be punched on. So I'm going to go through and do short little demos using each of the nozzles that I have. and then I'll show a couple of videos of me actually pressure washing things and washing a car, so you can see how it might work for you. If you need to do a lot of pressure washing, you're probably better off with a higher power gas washer, something that's got a bit more flow. But for light around the house type work, like washing cars, maybe spraying off patio furniture once a season, this is probably good enough. So I'm going to get set up and do some demos. Now before I start, I'm just going to fill up the reservoir with some soap. It should be some very liquidy soap, very watery soap, nothing thick, otherwise that'll just gum up the mechanism. Probably should be using a funnel for this. Alright, let's get going. Alright, so we're ready to get started. First we'll put on the low pressure soap nozzle. There we go. And we can start spraying. So I've got the unit turned on, and it's obviously not running right now because we're not using any of the water. Alright, so we've got it all soaped up. So now we normally wipe that down with your cleaning or whatever. For now I'm not going to. I'm just going to change nozzles and we'll power wash it off. To do that, I'll use the widest nozzle included, which is the 25 degree. So again, just pop that off, put it on, and let's spray the soap off of here. Okay, so I've done this a few times, washed the car a few times with this. You really got to use some elbow grease after you put the soap on it, but for the demo this is good. It kind of shows you what it can do. And this is also pretty good for getting the residual undercoating from the winter off. You know how it kind of seeps through the cracks? This is pretty effective at washing it out. So the orange or yellow is the 15 degree. I'm just going to give you an idea of how it works. Afterwards I'm going to show a couple demos of me cleaning off some patio furniture, but for now you can see how it is. Okay, and we'll go to the red 0 degree, so this will be the highest pressure. So same deal, I'm going to show this later on, doing some actual work, but just to give you an idea of the flow. Now finally I'm going to show you how the turbo nozzle works. First I'm going to turn off the pressure washer just so you can see what it's actually doing. So this is the nozzle here. Pop it in place. And I've just unplugged the pressure washer. So once it gets pressure up, you'll see that it's sort of spinning. So there's something in there that's actually physically turning. And I'll just plug the pressure washer back in. You can see how it works. So this looks really good. It looks like it's doing a lot, but when you're trying to use it to actually clean things, I really don't find the turbo nozzles very useful. I probably won't do any additional demo videos with it because I don't really know what you would actually use it for. Last thing I'm going to show is how easy it is to drag the spider. So I'm just going to grab it by the hose, and you can see it's pretty stable. No matter how you pull it, it's not going to tip over on you. And once you lock the casters, it stays in place on the driveway really well. Using the 15-degree nozzle. So I mean, overall, if you're looking for a light pressure washer, a light electric pressure washer where you don't have to worry about your maintenance, I think this is a really good choice. If you've got a lot of work that you need to do with a pressure washer, you probably would be better off with another unit that gives you more flow. But for me, this is perfect. Like I said, the only thing that I would change about it is actually make it a bit taller, just to make it a bit easier to stow the hose and potentially to make a hanger for it. Aside from that though, I'm really happy with it. The other thing I noticed while I was doing this review is that the nozzles are color coded. So the highest pressure, 0 degree, is red, the medium pressure, 15 degree, is yellow, and the lowest pressure nozzle, which is 25 degrees, is green. And then of course the actual low pressure nozzle is black. So kind of the green, yellow, or orange, and red. The last thing I want to touch on is my use of the Gardena quick coupler. I use a 1/2-inch hose, but I was nervous about this quick coupler restricting the flow. Maybe it does, but I did not notice any performance reduction when I started using this versus hooking up a standard hose. So for me, this just makes it a lot easier, and it makes it a lot easier to stow up against a wall, because if you look at the design of it, you've got your high pressure hose sticking out the front, and if you've got a hose hooked up, it would be sticking out the back. So for me, the quick connect really helps.